That's right. Paid vacation coming up. Depends how. Yeah, I guess maybe some payments will come in over the next 2 weeks from different vendors, as you call them, and then we'll
show me my money.
Then it'll be a paid vacation, John. So we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Very true.
But look, here's the deal: keep hitting us with the mailbag. iTunes, go to the iTunes page. This is how people got in the mailbag for this edition. Go to the iTunes page, leave us a review. In that review, we want two things: we want to question your favorite bar to watch games at. You can IGDM. I've got one IGM today. But really, we also want on the Facebook page, same deal. Question, Haberman and Middlecoff Facebook page. It's promo code HAM. Description is it's in the description of both the podcast and the YouTube. And your favorite bar to watch a game at. And we've got a Facebook question here as well.
I even think, too, favorite just bar. Obviously, I think most bars have TV. Favorite bar to hang out at.
Okay, I like that.
Because there are, there are some, we're mid-30s. They're higher-end bars. I'm watching the game at any bar I'm going to. But right. I do think you can, if you go on a date, you can outthink the room. You're like, go to a higher-end place, but you know where the TV is. You know where you like to sit. Yep. You can utilize your strategy, but it's a nicer place, but you have the perfect view. Like tonight, might be going somewhere Friday night, higher end bar, but I got a view at the TV, so I can get a little conference championship game in the background.
I like that because we don't want the primary reason you love the bar is, well, they got 30 TVs. Otherwise, you'd all just be, saying Hooters, which if Hooters is your favorite, cool. But it's about best bar to hang out at. Love it. Wherever you live. We've got some people from all over the country, a lot of people that listen. So that's what you put in the mailbag question. And a few of them put them in today. So we should dive in.
Because I'll be honest, if I go to a high-end bar and it does not have a television, I'm sorry, you're judged. It's just not for me. Right? And even like the Flemings and the Ruth Chris, your TVs don't have to be as big. I get you have different. They always have TVs, though. They always do. Any bar worth their salt to me. Maybe there are some in San Francisco or New York, a super high-end. I kind of get it. But anything below the elite of the elite of the elite, you got to have a TV. Bro.
I'll tell you where you get caught is I think I went to an event at this place called Water. I think it's called Water Bar. It's one of the places along the water in San Francisco and one of the piers. And they had TVs. It's a nice place, has TVs, but it was like one of those private event backroom things. And the back room does not have a TV. So you got to bathroom break. I think it was during the NCAA. It was during some Thursday night football maybe. It's like bathroom break. Oh, let me walk to the bar, check out the TV, come back. It's like, guys, we need. It's hard
to judge them on that, right? Because they have a special event area, and I think a lot of times that's a tough one.
I know
that is.
I was
when you get caught in that position and something good's going on, it's easy to get angry.
On YouTube, Blue Nose Pit says, I have an 85-inch TV 8 feet from my face in the living room. Yeah, you're probably not far from the refrigerator either.
And not to take a shot at that individual, I think most people have pretty big TVs now. We just need 85, to get out of our homes.
85?
That's big. That's big. But if you were, let's say you bought a house tomorrow, and you either had, as you get older, you got to start thinking I'm gonna have a separate room for my multiple TVs. You can't have 3 TVs in your living room. But if you were just gonna have one in your living room, you're probably going in modern day society minimum 70, right? And I have some friends or people I know that built kind of man caves. I think you kind of go probably 80-ish for your big boy, and then maybe a couple 50s.
Yeah.
Depending
how big the room is, 80. Yeah, don't you think you burn your eyes out at a certain? But I guess if you're at least 8 feet.
I don't know. I have a 65 in my 2 TV living room.
Yeah.
Which is really, it's a hybrid. It's a condo, so I view that as a man cave as well. Sometimes I look at it could be bigger, but to me the second TV, the key is you can go 85. You can go contrast of a 40 and it'd be good, right? Yeah. You just need to be able to see what's going on.
Yeah.
My second TV does not have audio capability because I have a sound bar through the one. So that audio, there is never
TV2 is always on muted.
Yeah, it's just on. Or the volume's turned all the way down. The only audio would come from the television.
Gotcha. All right. You ready to?
That's another thing. Sound bars have changed the game because they're not very. You can get a sound bar for $100, and it really does make it sound better. Yeah.
All right. You ready to dive in the mailbag?
Yes.
Here we go. These are real questions, John, from real people, which we appreciate very much. And we begin. No, let's not start with that one because that. Do we want to start with this one? No, we do not want to start with that one. Hold on. Here we go. All right. First up, this is from Devil Dog 1345. You know what I like to say, John? Real name on the internet. Not. 5 hams for this one. Love these guys. I'm from Wisconsin and still enjoy all the shows just because they're awesome dudes. Questions for the pod. I'm a huge Packer fan. My conspiracy theory is that J.J. Watt would have taken a hometown discount to come play in Green Bay, but he knew, or Rodgers told him, that he was going to ask for a trade, blow things up in the offseason. What do you think? Patrick in Wisconsin. Doesn't name a bar, which he's in Wisconsin. He'd probably have a good one, but I got to tell you, John, that's a strong conspiracy theory from Patrick in Wisconsin.
Gonna red flag that. He was given, I think, $23 or $24 million guaranteed. When he got 2 years, $30 million, my jaw hit the floor. And listen, he's actually become way less cheesy, and I'm someone who admires the player in his peak, as good as I've ever seen. And I didn't see, like Reggie White in his prime or LT, but he was JJ, unreal player. I do think if you follow him on social media, he plays a lot of golf in the Arizona area. I think he's pretty fucking happy. He got paid. He got to go to a warm weather place. I actually think it was very, in a weird way, like he was just going to go what gave him the most money and like a cool place to live.
Yeah, it doesn't, from a financial standpoint, that's not the Packers' MO. But I do.
Let's say they would have given him 2 years, $30 million, but 5 less guaranteed. I don't know if that gets it done. They gave the Cardinals gave him a lot of money.
No, I think part of the question with Green Bay is would he have taken a hometown discount? Now, like
that's what I'm saying. Like, would he have taken 5 or 6 million less guaranteed?
If that's the case, then I have to think he had a feeling that things were weird. I mean, we all had a feeling that things were weird at the time that he signed. Did he think it would get like this? It wouldn't shock me because to me, at minimum, you talk to the Packers, you do some due diligence, you think about, okay, what are they willing to pay? And is that a place I'd want to go play for that amount of money? Now, some guys don't actually want to go back home to play. It's not everybody doesn't want to go home to play. But I got to think he did at least some due diligence and had some understanding. Tell the world. Don't you think he had some understanding?
It wasn't Rodgers. Rodgers was telling people he was out. His team.
Yeah, he didn't need to back channel.
JJ got his number. He's like, I'm fucking gone, bro.
It's like,
cool. I'll just go play golf at Whisper Rock. I'm out too.
Somebody text Rodgers and see what he's up to. It's like, text him. Just watch SportsCenter.
I also think JJ could probably convince himself that the team he just joined is closer than like me or you think.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Good player. I mean, he looks around. He goes, there are guys in this locker room. Well, DeAndre Hopkins, right? Like they're Chandler Jones. Like, there are guys in this locker room that I go, they're on my level. Next up, John. This one is from Instagram. Mailbag, love the pod. Going 2 years listing. My question, does Nick Bosa go over under 10 sacks? Anthony, he says, my favorite place to watch a football game is the Cigar Lounge in State Line, Idaho. I can already see how this will extend the mailbag because we'll start Googling places. Over under 10 sacks for Nick Bosa. I got to go over here, John.
Yeah, if it's under, the Niners have a problem. I think they are expecting, a healthy Nick Bosa season should give you about 15.
Yeah,
I
I'd
think
say
that's
if you
a fair
told
number.
me right now 13.5, you would take that in a heartbeat, I think.
Unless you're greedy.
You'd rather roll that. Yeah, no, I know. But given his injury history.
You're greedy.
17 games.
And I'm greedy. I know.
Next up, John, this is from Dr. G22. First things first, favorite bar to watch a game is Egan and Sons in Montclair, New Jersey. Egan and Sons. See, every time
I've been to Montclair.
Montclair, New Jersey?
Mm-hmm.
What's there?
I don't know, but I've been there.
You've been
I
there?
remember being there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listening for about 3 years now, and I get the same excitement every morning when a new pod comes out. Question, will the lock of the week be back in 2021? That was one of my favorite segments, and I enjoyed tailing and sometimes fading you guys. Also, if you consider doing a survivor pool for the pod, maybe you decide your team for the week and then have listeners choose a team to see who can last longer, Ham or the people. We've picked up a lot of listeners since last football season, so we should recap for some people. We did a lock of the week. We started in my bookie. We started with what, like $200? A $200 bet? Was it more?
No, I think we each put. I think it was $500. I thought we each put $250
in.
I thought, or maybe 200 in. I can't.
And
quite
we just
remember.
decided we're gonna bet we're just gonna bet one team a week. It'll be our lock of the week until we run out of money. And we were betting the Jets there for a while, and then we started getting bored with the winning.
Yeah, I'd be down to do it again and just tell ourselves 100% no boredom and no emotion factors in, just a pure bet. Because I think if we would have bet the Jets / the Giants too. Definitely hammered the Jets. Maybe it was the Jags. We just like, I don't want to bet these shitty teams.
And we wanted to bet games that we were going to watch too. Was the other thing,
I'd be down to do it again and just completely take the emotion out of it and just bet the shitty team. Because remember, we're like, I want to bet Alabama.
Yeah.
And it was like minus 25 against Lane.
Ole Miss.
And then Lane's throwing up all these points. Like, this is insane. Like, Nick, are you guys going to play any defense?
We started parlaying.
But that was something probably, I bet Powell Feinbaum would have been like, well, you got to be careful. Bama's defense isn't as good, and Lane can score on offense.
Yep.
Turns out they got this. We can't do things we don't know anything
Matt
about.
Corral, yeah. We started doing parlays to like make up lost ground too.
Yeah, we got bored fast. We got to 1,000. We won 3 in a row. We were at like $1,200 pretty quick.
Devocho Cinco. So this person's name is Dave. Question for AB Habe's been experimenting with new hair product in an attempt to have better flow. Recommendations on products and styling methods. John can actually weigh in on this. You have a history. Bar recommendation: Moonshine Beach in San Diego is a great Niner bar. Huge projector screen takes up the entire wall. 5 different bars inside. Live country rock artist Friday, Saturday night. P.S. We need intro music on the YouTube. Moonshine Beach in San Diego. That sounds like multiple. That sounds like multiple bars, right? Is that what he said?
Never been there. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine just bar recommendation, Moonshine Beach. I bet that it wouldn't shock me if that was a bar, but I don't know. Honestly, I haven't hung out that often in San Diego in 15 plus years.
Yeah.
I need to go back. Fucking place is awesome.
Product, John used to have luscious flow, so you can weigh in.
No, guy, this is yours. I've been bald for a decade.
You're experienced. This is like you're like a former NFL player. You can say like back when I played, you could do things that
different.
You can't do
it was
days.
a different life. I don't even remember the time.
I've bounced around some Hans de Foucault, some Aveda. I used to do this Aveda Hans de Foucault cocktail, I called it, where I would use multiple two products. I would say about 3 years ago, I graduated from using like a $6 thing of Axe to using things that cost like, $20 for the little container. But what I'm using these days is a product by Kevin Murphy. There's multiple holds. The beauty of it is like a little one is like $13 or $20. I don't know. And I'm using the one called Rough Rider, and you just need a little bit, and it really lasts. I don't like a lot of product. John knows. John, sometimes maybe you slick it up for a big event, but this has just got a little product in it. The key is the cut. The key is the cut, not the product.
Can I give a quick take on the cut? And listen, if I had what you guys and everyone else has, I would do the cut too. But everyone's doing the cut now. You guys all look the same. Like I saw Hassan Minhaj. I follow him on social media. He's got the Haberman. Everyone with great hair has
the long,
slick on the sides, long on top. Like that. Just every fucking guy with sweet hair has that.
Every
look.
guy with the beard
also
definitely has that hair.
There is zero diversity in your guys' look.
So, First of all,
it's kind of like a Twitter take. Like Twitter, everyone just follows the same thing.
So
haircut, again, it's cool. I would do the same too. You guys are all doing the same thing though.
Yeah, but here's the problem. So post-pandemic, I went a lot shorter because I was like, everyone came out of the pandemic. Like, actually, throughout the pandemic, my hair was actually much shorter than this. And I was like, everyone's doing that. I got to do something different. I want to shorten it up, tighten it up a little bit. And then I thought, you know what? I don't like my whole life. I've been trying to figure out a way to get it long and have some flow. So what do you recommend I do?
I don't know. I'm not.
I haven't figured out. I am open. Here's my point. I'm open to doing something different.
You do agree that you guys all look the same now.
Well, it's why I stopped. It's this. Maybe it doesn't look different to you, but it's a lot longer than I had it. About halfway through the pandemic, I realized everyone thinks they got long hair now. They're going to let it go. And so I got to do something different. And so all I really did was cut it short. I've done the same thing with my hair my whole life. But now that it's long in the front, and I'm with you, it looks the same. But I haven't figured out what else to do with it. Like, I'm not going to do some bushy, like, I don't know. Do you want me to, like, do the thing like the.
Well, that was Peaky Blinders.
How about that? Is that better?
Go down a little farther, like Peaky Blinders. That's it. Do that.
I feel like this is
all the way down, all the way down.
The sun. I feel like this is the sun from Wedding Crashers. That's
it kind of looks like that too. Yeah, that's
Would that make you love me?
You would stand out like that. Hassan Minhaj to Carissa Thompson's agent husband to every good-looking, tall, skinny guy, every big league baseball player.
I know. I don't know what to do with it.
Not hating. I can't relate.
I'm telling you, I'm aware of it, and I feel like of the people doing it, I'm the only one that's aware of it. But I'm stuck. I don't know what else to do. Now, like you're telling me, if I went. By the way, this is a very YouTube. For those of you on the podcast, you're like, what the hell?
You have a play that no one ever does. I know you don't. You get itchy or whatever. You could probably rock a sweet beard and that.
But again, everyone's doing that.
Yeah, but you never have done it. So your
I know,
look
but it accepts you. It like doesn't, if you don't have it, I don't know. How about is this the same or is this different? What do you consider that? Just another version of the same thing?
What you got going right now?
I just flattened it.
Yeah, it would just look like like a preppy kid going.
I'm just asking, do you consider this different?
Yeah, that looks different.
Okay.
Yes. That looks like a normal haircut.
All right,
forever.
We'll rock with this for the rest of the
But
video.
again, I would do what you guys are doing.
Believe me, I have stressed about what you just described because I know it's true and I don't want to be that way, but I don't know what else to do.
It would be the equivalent of like in cars. I would imagine the majority of human beings drive a car for a long period of time in a general price range, right? Like $25,000 to $35,000. But there are so many different cars. So everyone looks like they kind of have a different car. Some guys have white cars. Some guys have blue cars. But you guys are all driving the equivalent of the same car.
Bro, believe me. I know.
Yeah.
I know. But,
I get some point of difference. Just I don't have a choice.
For
right?
sure.
I haven't shaved. That's why I put a hat on. I'm bald.
But John,
shit.
It's like telling a big league picture like, oh, you guys are throwing 95. And it's like, well, I throw 95. What do you want me to do about it?
I know.
It's
you
like,
just got to ride it.
Shit.
See where
I
it takes
guess I'll
you.
become a knuckleballer. Next up, this is from Reek the Sneak. What do you guys think about Arizona State scandal going on? I feel like every school has probably did something similar to what ASU did, especially in the SEC, where they didn't really believe in COVID anyway. They're saying it could eventually cost Herm his job. Kind of disappointing, as I feel like there's always high hopes for ASU, but it doesn't amount to anything. Really hoping things would be different with Jaden Daniels at QBO and use the promo code HAM for a major bag alert. I think what'll be interesting here is, did anybody else do the stuff that is alleged that they did, like having people on, like COVID or no COVID, John, a dead period is a dead period, right? So whether Alabama was not wearing masks and the dead period is a dead period throughout the country, right? Yeah. Like everyone knows what a dead period is. So I don't know that we're going to, surely that no one's ever the only one to do something a certain way. But if that stuff's true, now look, there's only there's 10 weeks to the season. Can the NCAA really move that quickly? I don't know. But I'm not loving it. I'll tell you that.
It is weird that I would say most of our life, Arizona State has not been good really at football or basketball. Yeah. Like that school, and I've always thought a little bit like San Diego State, but even them, right? They've had some moments now in basketball the last couple decades where they've been, top 3 or 4 seed. Like Arizona State, like how? Fuck, I'm going there in a couple days. If you're listening to this, I might be there by the time you're listening to this. That place, just that whole area. We got some schools. Like, I like Seattle, but if you chose John Middlecoff and I got some shit going for me as a high school player coming out of the Sacramento area, I'm choosing Tempe over Seattle or Eugene. But that's not the way it works. And sometimes they're just, for whatever reason, Arizona State has just never been able to, in golf and baseball they have, right? It's like kids want to go there. But for football and definitely even basketball, but let's just talk about football. It just doesn't. I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't.
I think the thing that makes it hard
because unlike San Diego State, they're in the conference that matters, right? It's like they're in a big boy school.
A lot of people
they play big boy schools,
and a lot of people were picking them this year to win the Pac-12 South. Like when the standing. Now I don't know if that will be the case that they'll get picked, but a lot of people are picking them this year.
One thing about this guy, if you're from Southern California, think of the pitch. Hey, you get to play UCLA and USC every year. Your family is guaranteed to watch you at minimum 1 home game. And it's not like we're that far away. Like, you have that in your back pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. We're talking, look, bottom line, like, whether anyone else did it or not, we're talking about major infractions potentially. And this is not like somebody trying to dig on them. Somebody handed a packet to the NCAA, and the packet said, the point of me giving you this packet is so that if you look into ASU football, you will find violations. That's the cover letter, John. It said, I'm trying to give you so much information, you can't fail at this.
I know what you're saying, and I know what happened. But I understand why they've been nailed before. Erickson got in some trouble. When I was at Fresno State, they had an enormous recruiting class led by Vontez Burfict, who was supposed to go to USC, and they got in trouble for doing some shady shit. And then Todd came. But you've just overall, to me, there's a reason they always feel like they have to push the envelope. They never feel like Oregon, Washington, obviously USC, hell, even like what Stanford. You've been around that program, but just at the different schools, like what the fuck? Why are they never? They're not viewed as an equal, just with kids' eyes. I don't get it.
No,
they do kind of feel like a more of a rebel.
It's why they. It's probably. I think you're
Arizona
right. I think they felt
like
it,
that.
And it's probably why they try to throw a major curveball with, let's do it different here, right? And they made themselves relevant really quick in terms of getting the spotlight on them. They did that.
Why do you think Arizona, which is not in as nice of an area, I don't even think it's close. I would much rather be in the Scottsdale, Tempe, Phoenix area than Tucson. Yet their programs historically, and their baseball team's good too.
Yeah.
Why are they much more of a stable feel, like much closer to like an Oregon or Washington or Cal than Arizona State?
From a football standpoint, you think?
I'm just saying the overall athletic program.
I mean, the real reason why, I don't know, but I mean, they have had they've got like a top 10 basketball program for 30 years now, right?
Yeah,
They've just been extreme, like one of the most relevant programs. So maybe that's why.
Yeah, they were a powerhouse.
Next up, mailbag. This one is from. This one's from Instagram. Snuck in here. Ian. He actually had a bar. He's in the UK. I can't remember where it was a long one, so here it is. This will probably seem normal to you both, but I always find it odd that during the trophy presentation in the NFL after the Super Bowl, the owner gets the award. Over here, he's saying in the UK in soccer, the players get the moment of glory lifting the trophy. Even the coaches aren't involved in that initial hoist. Owners are nowhere near. They normally just stand there watching. Why in the NFL do the owners get all the glory? Has it always been this way? I mean, my first thought is that because, football was created by business, the NFL, created by businessmen trying to create a league to make money. And so they were always kind of on the front line of it. Soccer has just been going for so long that the tradition, there's no one person built them up. Again, if I'm wrong, correct me here. Obviously, Jed York built up Leeds United. But I don't know. Maybe it's just that the NFL is so much more recent. And it from the jump, wouldn't you say, the owners of the NFL have been some of the big names in the league?
I do, in a weird way, feel like the one individual owner, when the team wins, is pretty synonymous with his franchise.
Yeah.
Now, occasionally, like last year, the Glazers, even though the Glazers are synonymous with the Bucs, we just don't really know what they look like or whatever. But a lot of owners, like I just say a name, like I say Arthur Blank. To the average person in America, they don't think Home Depot, right, or Office Depot, or whatever the powerhouse made him a billionaire. They think the Atlanta Falcons.
Why? Why do you think that is?
Right. I don't know.
Besides that the NFL's huge.
I think he's overrating their glory a little. I mean, they're standing there, but it is about the coach and the player, right?
Yeah, but I think it's when the owner gets the trophy first, right? I'd like to present this trophy.
He just gets there fast. The other guys are mingling around. I don't know.
But I think they always do. I'd love to present this trophy to Robert Kraft and the Patriots, and they hand him the trophy, right?
Yeah, I think part of it is like
Al Davis and the Raiders.
But he was the GM too.
That's true, but that's not why he was getting the trophy.
Well, who's handing it to him usually? Jim Nantz or whatever. They are the ones associated with the networks.
The commissioner's the one handing him the trophy.
Yeah, I mean,
so their employee is handing them the trophy.
They're all intertwined.
All right, next up. Thank you, Ian, for that one. Tom Brady on Barbershop from GQ Wheezy. Do you guys think when Brady said you're sticking with that MFer on Barbershop show is because Jimmy G isn't good enough? Because Jimmy G, who was with Belichick, who was willing to move on. So you and I did a video about that. We both, my conclusion was Tannehill. Your conclusion was Tannehill or Jimmy.
Derek.
Or Derek. I saw Cowherd the other day, said he thought it was Trubisky. Yeah, but we did a video on that, which you go check out. I'm Tannehill. I don't have any reason to think since we made that video to change my opinion on Tannehill.
To me, only Tom. The way Tom spoke about it was like, I want to go there, and they're not offering me a contract. Because
Right.
the way it ended, do you take it as the Chargers had a standing offer to Tom Brady?
I took it as Tom
Is
did
it
not want to go to the Chargers. That's how I took.
But they had a standing. They would have paid him if he
I
would have
think
said
so.
yes. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't.
Like,
I think it's just more that to me, it's more that Tom didn't want to go there than it is that I think they were.
To me, they're like when Peyton Manning ended up going to the Denver Broncos, it was clear like 5 teams had standing offers to him, right? The Dolphins, the Titans, the Niners, like all these teams were like. I saw one of the dudes on the Flying Coach, Zach Taylor mentioned it. Like he flew out with Peyton Manning when he was. Oh, that was with the Dolphins. Like Peyton Manning had like 5 or 6 standing offers. Do you agree that it was hard to tell like who are Tom's standing offers beside the Bucks who were all in for him? Like what? The Raiders, like, yeah, we're not really like, what were the offers? It was very confusing that way. Like Tennessee clearly didn't have a standing offer for him, right?
Yeah.
Because they paid Tannehill.
Right.
The Raiders clearly didn't have a standing offer. He asked the Niners, no standing offer. They said no. And I remember, listen, Florio takes a lot of shit. I do think he was right on this one. Like, what was Tom's market? Was it just ultimately when the dust settled, the Chargers and the Bucks were willing to pay him? Because then maybe he was talking about like, hey, Matt Nagy, I would be interested in playing for your team. He's like, we're just going to ride it out with Mitch. That would sound like something he's saying.
Right.
Right? Like, fuck that motherfucker. Like, do you feel like he's talking about someone who was not giving him an offer? That's what I'm saying.
No.
Right? That's who he's talking about.
Yep.
Someone not giving him an offer.
No, sorry. I'm talking. Yes, it's not to me. Again, to go back to it, I think the Chargers. He just didn't want to go there. I think the Bears. Would have offered him a contract. I think the Bears should have wanted him.
Yeah, that's a hell of a question.
But
I do not think it's the Bears. To me, it could be Ryan Tannehill. It could be Derek Carr if he wanted to go to the Raiders, though I can't imagine he wanted to go to the Raiders. But this gets back to he didn't have that many options.
Which is kind of crazy.
Which is crazy. That's nuts.
Dirty Sanchez, number 1. First off, you guys are awesome. I tore my ACL playing basketball this week and reminds me of John saying that that's what he would do if he stepped on the court again. Have you two guys talked Le'Veon versus Reed at all? And if the Niners do well this year and McDaniel gets poached, who's next in line? So you have talked about the fact that your ACL might go. I've talked about the fact that I've retired out of fear of an ACL. We did talk about Le'Veon and Reed and Mike McDaniel.
Can I go back to the ACL and the Achilles injuries, which I would say are the 2 major culprits on a pickup basketball? And I know, I used to snow ski when I was a kid. My buddy Ryan Fry, his wife Mona tore her ACL a couple years ago just skiing down the hill. When you see, and I would imagine most people that listen to us would think this if they got injured, it's just a 6 to 9 month. Do you understand these people rehab every day in pro sports? Like they don't like do their job. And then I remember my dad, he'd go to work and then he'd have to go for an hour a day when he had his big knee injury in the 90s. Like you have to make time out of your day to go rehab. These guys, their rehab is their life. It's not just now you don't need it like them to do crazy movements, but it's a longer rehab, I think, than the casual person knows. That's why I'm completely out on getting injured. Like, I do not want, 1, to not be able to move, 2, have to work rehab around my life.
Also, you got to drive to rehab. What if you tear your right leg ACL? Now, how do you get into your rehab? Because you got a big boot on your right, Well, that's, I guess, maybe an Achilles. Maybe you can drive with an ACL. I don't know.
You'd have to use your left. You have to use your left foot.
Get a European car.
Yeah, Uber.
T-Roy, outstanding pod, saves me during my commute. First question, Nagy's recent comments about 0 chance field start week 1 seem premature for that amount of confidence in a statement. Are you buying it, or is it just straight strong rhetoric to take some pressure off of Fields and keep Dalton happy for now? Better question, when can we expect T.O. to hit you back? I've been waiting for years now. See, again, we have a lot of new listeners. That's from our old radio days. We had Terrell Owens on the show. We were doing the show. What year was this, you think? Like 2015? It was 2014?
Yeah. Might have been 15.
We were at spring training. T.O.'s on the show. T.O., like something comes up while he's doing the interview. And he goes,
The interview, I mean, we had him on for probably 10 plus minutes by then, and he had another call, and he said,
or he
let
just
me hit
wanted
you
to get
back,
off.
guys. Yeah,
Right.
who
Or he
knows?
might have been lying. He's like, let me hit you back. And of course, why would he? He never hit us back. That interview launched us to the first #1 rating month in the history of the radio station. First ones to do it. And he never called us back, but that is a long-running joke among people who have listened to the radio show back in the day before it was a podcast. Did T.O. ever hit you back? And the answer is no.
Do you think T.O. was dramatically more famous 6 years ago than he is today? Because I feel like that interview, the equivalent now, if we were still
Would not
doing
have
terrestrial
done.
radio,
Yeah, I
would
think
not
you're
do
right.
a crazy pop. Maybe times were just different. It was just a different world, guy. Different world.
How about Matt Nagy's recent comments about zero chance field starts? You buying that he means that? Your boy.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to the clip. He gave it with a lot of conviction. Like he's like Rich. I think that's who he was on with. Did he write that?
No, he didn't.
I think he was on Rich's show or Ross Tucker's show or one of those Florio show. He was adamant. He's like, no chance. Andy Dalton's our starter. Like listen, he's my guy. Doesn't mean you agree with everything. I would have gone, yeah, as of right now, he's definitely our starter. Training camp. I'm always big on giving me outs. Like, we'll see. This guy's a rookie. We're not putting pressure on him. We signed Andy to be the starter. Things changed in the draft. We got Justin Fields. I also completely believe that words mean fucking absolutely nothing. But his words were pretty strong. So
yeah, but again, if Justin Fields looks incredible, he'll be like, yeah, that's what I thought at the time, and then Justin Fields beat him out, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to not play Justin Fields because this is what he told whoever.
Yeah.
Next up, DJ Fortner. You guys probably know me from taking my money in DraftKings. I do actually recognize his name. Also got into my bookie through you guys. Thanks again for the lost money. The ads are great and always well timed. Tell the losers to get a life. From NC hometown of Mad Bub, best podcast in the business, and I'm a Ravens fan. Question: fantasy draft hypothetical. All players are free agents. The whole league is getting redrafted. Name the top 10 QBs you would take, no matter the age. From the rookies this year to the Tom Brady contracts, they're all equal. Basically, if you started a team today, who would y'all take? Note, the list is a lot harder than you think. Would Russell Wilson, Rodgers get drafted in the top 10? You know, the thing you always ask on a list like that is, are we talking for one season, or are we talking, for long term? But just so everyone has, I just have this handy because we made a different video about Sims. I'll throw that list up just so you have guys to look at. I mean, Mahomes goes one.
I think the easiest way to do it is to not look at one season just for the foreseeable future. But so age matters.
Okay.
Because to me, the one season thing, it's not, if you're doing a redraft or just a draft from scratch, and for the next 10 years, whether it was 10 years or one, Mahomes is going one no matter what. Yeah. Where I think it makes, if you're just going the 1 year, then you could take Tom Brady,
right,
or even Aaron Rodgers, because I do think at like number 2, if someone went like Josh Allen or I'll give you a curveball, Trevor Lawrence. Like, what if someone just loved him? I don't think that's
Joe
crazy.
Burrow.
Yeah, or
Justin
would be
Herbert?
another guy. Yeah, right. So I think Russell's only 32. He'd be a lock.
Yeah, to me, the Russ is like in the perfect wheelhouse of legend, but still has good years left.
I think Rodgers, you just go, could we get 4 or 5 years and try to win a couple of championships?
The way he looked, I think you could justify him being 2 behind Mahomes.
I think Lamar Jackson would go in the top 10 because he just guarantee you winning. He just give you a shot to win. You want to win. Like, that's the point of this, right? How does you win with Lamar Jackson? I've come around on Lamar.
I think Herbert.
Now, I don't know if you win a Super Bowl, but you win. Like, yeah, I think Lamar would go over Herbert.
I agree with.
It depends.
I don't know.
GM was.
Actually, I'm not sure about that. So Mahomes, Josh Allen, Rodgers. I mean, maybe. Sorry, the Sims list then makes it look like that's our list. I think Rodgers could go 2. I think Rodgers could go 2 there, but I would understand Josh Allen.
Yeah, he would go
Russ. High. There's 4 in no particular order. Would you go Lamar 5?
I just throw Lamar in there. I'd throw Herbert in there. I think Burrow's injury is a little scary, but
I think Brady does have to be in the. Again, we're not talking about Sims here, but I think Brady's got to be in the draft ahead of Dak. I mean, we can't. You wouldn't. The Cowboys just didn't want to pay Dak. You can't draft Dak in the top 10.
Yeah, it's difficult.
But they didn't want to pay him as much as they paid him. Who's the youngest player that would make this list? Josh Allen, Justin Herbert?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor, yeah. You said Trevor.
Trey Lance? I'm just asking the question.
Yeah. Kyler? Who would go ahead? Kyler or Trey Lance? Who goes higher?
I don't know. I'm off the Kyler bandwagon. God, can you imagine that feeling of just going to get a good sweat and coming home with a torn ACL? That would just rattle me.
Okay,
I feel for you, buddy.
This is from Facebook. Go to our Facebook page. Ask us a question. Juan on Facebook. Juan Gutierrez. Question for the pod. Wanted to mention how knowledgeable and entertaining you guys are. What's your Raiders record assessment this year and why? Much love from Woodland, California, home of Dustin Pedroia. Favorite bar, Woodstock Pizza in Davis is fire. Well, we've spent many a day, a minute, a lunch with the cheesy garlic bread or whatever it was called. Do you remember what that thing was called?
They
Just
had,
like the breadsticks.
They had Woodstocks in San Luis too. Same piece.
You know,
the sauce, the
marinara
in the crust. That to me is such a game changer. The sauce in the crust, so you kind of roll it over, so you get bites. You know, sometimes that bite's kind of dry, but if you get a little marinara, oh my God, Woodstock's pizza, oh God, it's fire.
Just off field, not looking at the schedule. Raiders win total. Not looking at the over under. This is not an official over under.
I just don't have any feel for their defense. If you tell me their defense is dramatically better, I say they can win 10 games. If you tell me it's a tiny improvement, like they're not as historically bad, but they're still a bottom 10 defense, I could see 8 and 9. You know, you can't be that terrible at defense. You just can't. Now, I think someone would be like, it's got to end somewhere, which I'd say kind of true, but have the players really changed that much?
I'm going 9 just as a placeholder until we really dive into things, but that's my first 9.
I honestly think of all the teams, they would be a hard team to bet on, like the win over under type stuff till get a feel for like a month into the season. I feel I have no clue, guy, honestly. Because I was cocky last year. I'm like, they're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. Wild bread.
We're like the 7th wild card. You know. Do you feel confident they're going to be a 7th wild card?
No, I don't feel confident about it.
Would you pick that? Because I would not.
9 probably doesn't make you a wild card team.
No, not when 11 in a 16-game season.
Okay. I think that was all of them, John. We had a bunch. I hope I didn't. I might have misplaced a couple, so hopefully I didn't. But thanks for naming the bars. We love that. If you're watching the video, subscribe to it. Anything else we need to hit?
No. I don't. We're halfway. If you're listening to this, we're basically almost halfway through the year. It's pretty crazy how fast life goes. Just to get deep here really quick. Just, last year was the slowest year ever. I do feel like 2021, if last year felt like it was kind of going in molasses, this year feels like it's going in a Lewis Hamilton car. Like we're halfway through the year of 2021.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to be at the football season before we know it. I mean, I vividly remember when Schefter was talking about blood in the streets and canceling the draft, and it doesn't feel like that long. Like I do feel like 2020 was just a powerful, obviously for many reasons, but just a year that you just felt like you were just in it and felt every day. And this feels like a normal life year. It's just kind of going,
Mm-hmm.
NBA Finals already here. Boom. Training camp starting. Boom. Football season.
It will. I mean, it's a cliche to say, but the training camp right now we go like, God, when is it going to be here? Well, it'll be here in the blink of an eye. It'll be here before we know it. It was some good things, from us, like in terms of like the YouTube streaming. That was something that we started doing last year, but you felt it's like NFL players say, like, you wake up on Monday, you feel every hit you took the day before. Like, you felt every day of 2020. It's funny. I found an old photo from like New Year's Eve, 2020. I was like, that idiot has no idea. like last week I saw the picture. I'm like,
oh, New Year's Eve going into 2020.
From 2019. It was like in front of like these, like the 2020 gold balloons. I'm like, gonna be a great year.
Fuck that.
So anyway, it's good to be in this year.
Yeah. Good to be alive.
All right, everybody. 2-week vacation starts now. Still have content on the YouTube channel over the next 2 weeks. That'll be going up. Podcast returns in 2. And, we'll be ready to hit it. Hope everybody's great. Have a good 2 weeks, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Adios.